Welcome to the Mom Coaches Getting Clients podcast. Today we're talking about manifesting your dream coaching biz by creating a vision board. I love this topic. This came in hot on a call with a client. We were homing in on her niche and we were talking about manifestation, and we're just talking about all this good stuff that got me very excited because I completely believe in this sort of science, but not really science. But having lived a lengthy time on this planet, I've seen it over and over again how the universe works in mysterious ways. But having married a very sciencey guy, there is a physics to it, right? The universal law of attraction. So I love that bouncing back and forth between trusting that there is a method to the universe's madness, but also making good luck by taking proactive action, if that's not redundant. Taking action towards what it is you really, really want. And if you really, really want a successful mom coaching business, then you're going to want to be all ears on this episode. So, the science behind the manifestation. So, if you follow me on Instagram, I just did a reel on my 5 favorite books at the time when I was just starting off my coaching business. And one of them was the book Get Rich Lucky Beep by Denise Dunfield Thomas. And I remember, when you read books and you can see where you're sitting when you're reading it and how old the kiddos were at the time of, depending on the living room you're living in. So I totally remember the house we were living in at the time because we just moved from our dream house that I manifested. Thank you very much. And we made a really drastic life decision to pivot our surroundings to go for what was a priority now in our lives. Our kids were older. We wanted them to go to this local school that we're very excited about. And they were just at that age where they needed different resources. And so it was a release of an old vision board and the creation of a new one, if you will. So I remember thinking I'm pretty good at manifesting things like the house previous. That's a wild story. It was a straw bale house. And before we moved into it, we had hired an architect. We have taken the workshops. We had all the books on building a straw bale house. We had work parties. We've had a builder lined up. And at the last minute, we changed our mind. Another long story. But we were able to manifest, if you will, a house designed by the same architect, same square footage, same amount of bedrooms, the same distance from the small town that we were building on, just in the opposite direction. It was like 3 kilometers south of the town, as opposed to 3 kilometers north. So it was really wild how it just poof. But it was all built. We were kind of getting a little freaked out about building. And we had my daughter, and I knew I wanted to have another kid. And I was just like, I don't know if I want to be pregnant building a house from scratch. So we lived in that straw bale house for 7 years. And we moved when my son was 5 years old to another little hobby farm closer to town, though. And back at the straw bale, we were homeschooling. And then I was excited about, I can really take my business up a notch if the kids were to go to the local school here. So I was very excited. And one of the first things we did was we had a garage sale, and I sold a lot of what was basically the vision board of that previous chapter in our lives. So sold our big homeschooling blackboard that was on wheels. It was so adorable. We sold all of my spinning materials and equipment. I used to make hand spun yarn and sell it on Etsy. And it was just this gesture to the universe of, I am ready to take my business now to the next level, to settle ourselves into this new community, to lead a more pedestrian rich lifestyle. this is a whole bunch of new beginnings, sort of coming from a conversation that my husband and I had. Is like, what are we going to do here? And then it was like, this is important to me. I think we should consider this, and yada, yada. So it just felt like the book, going back to the book, Get Rich, is that first step to manifesting what you want to welcome into your life is to make more room for it. So decluttering is always a good time, a good place to begin. And that is essentially why everything I do in my business, in all my podcast episodes, in all my free trainings, all my courses, I'm always like, let's begin with your niche statement. And I think intuitively, I lean to that because it's an opportunity to declutter. It's okay, this is what's important in the context of your business. You're a coach, but what exactly is that you do? Well, I help get clear on who you help, what struggle you help them through, and what results. Just get nitty gritty, money, health, or relationships do you deliver, do you help your clients get to? So that simplifies your business. That opens a lot of room for that energy to swoosh around, like that airflow to just release the cobwebs, shake things out, and release what's not important so that you can just trust the universe. If you show up every day with this intent, magic is going to happen. So just like that conversation I had with my client, we were talking about vision boards. And then I went on to Pinterest. Pinterest is something I'm using more and more, again, intentionally in my business. And I'm having way too much fun because I feel like it's like manifestation at your fingertips in a way. So I was looking at, I had this whole strategy. I was looking at trends, what Pinterest now tells you, hey, your audience is kind of, they're going to start searching these things. And they said vision boards. And I'm like, oh my God, we were just talking about this. This is what I'm going to offer, not only in my next podcast episode, but I'm going to create a whole workshop on how to make a vision board for your coaching business. So if you're listening to this, head over to blissbeyondnaptime.com into my shop section. I'm going to start filling her up with really cool courses and master classes. The next one coming up is creating a vision board for your mom coaching biz. So you want to check that out. It's going to be priced really accessibly. Don't quote me on this, but probably $7. So head on over there and we're going to walk through the process. It's going to be a lot of fun and a little artsy crafty. Okay, so that is what we're doing. The first step is decluttering, and we're doing that with your niche statement, releasing the old and keeping what's important, and also holding space for more surprises. I was talking to another client, and we were just saying, she's just at the beginning of her coaching business. And I just told her, you are starting here, but I guarantee you, like 5 years from now, you can't even imagine where your coaching business is going to be. It's going, again, everything you put your attention on grows, but it's almost like you're planting a seed into the ground, but it was like a surprise seed packet. You don't know what this gorgeous flower is going to look like, but it's going to be robust, hardy, and beautiful. If we keep watering it, if we keep nurturing it, if we keep fertilizing it, if we keep like sun shining down on it. So just placing your intent, and that's what we're going to do in this workshop. I'm going to give you this little seed packet and instructions, and it's going to be really fun. So be sure to check it out. So again, how the vision boarding works, and I remember another, other than my straw bale house example, another example I often use is, and I'm pointing over there to my husband's office. He's in a meeting right now. I can hear him. It's like the first time I delved into sort of woo-woo stuff, like the very first time was when I was in university. And again, I remember because I lived in one of my first apartments ever, and it was a trip, that apartment. But I lived in there by myself. I remembered who I was dating. I didn't want to date him anymore. And somehow I read a book, and I can't remember, it was a very old school self-help type book, and I can't remember. Like, it was kind of like around the time I found Scott Peck's The Road Less Traveled. So I don't know if it was an exercise from that book or not. But the exercise was to write down your goals and get very specific. And I wrote down stuff like, I want to, travel, and I wrote down where to. I wrote down my dream job, and then I wrote down my husband, and I got very specific on things like he needed to have, right? But in my heart, it's just basically expressing out loud what I've always kind of dreamt about. And he needs to be funny. He needs to have a cute smile. I'm partial to like curly blonde hair. So I think I'm pretty specific. He has to have a job. I would be very excited if he had a job. This is back in the day when I was dating a lot of bike couriers. So nothing against bike couriers, but I was just like, you know what? I want to have kids soon. I'm ready for someone who has like a job, anyway. So I met my husband. Oh man, it must have been like a decade after I wrote this note. I didn't meet my husband until I was 29. And it was a lot of dating, and until this one party, and I literally saw him across the room, and it was this like, my brain went, this is what you wrote down in that list so long ago. So I wrote down that list, and then I folded it up and I put it away somewhere. And you know what happened? I don't know where it went. And I just really wish I would have kept it, because I know there's other things that were very specific. And I always was kind of curious about, did those manifest as well? So telling you that story is just to bring back the point that the vision board intention is to give your mind a general GPS direction. This is what I'm going for. And then just trusting, imprinting that into your brain, that all those little micro decisions you make throughout your day are going to guide you towards, this is a treat. This is what the universe really is going to surprise you with, and just loving the journey towards that. And in fact, I worked with a coach, a former coach, and she actually recommended that after we create the vision board, an important step is to put it away, because you don't want to be staring at that and living in this lack energy. Every day you're reminded of, yeah, you don't have this yet. So she recommended creating it and then putting it under your bed, have a little ritual, really imprint it to your brain, and then put it away, and just trusting that showing up with that subconsciously and taking action every day will get you to revisit it. And then you pull it out, the next time you create the ritual again. And then I did a little bit of Googling, and apparently the science says that it's important that you take a look at it every day. So I've read books that recommend that too. So I don't know what to tell you. You can experiment. But what I do recommend is to get pretty specific in terms of making sure that all aspects of your business and who you're being while you are living in your business and living outside of your business, that you get specific. So in this workshop, we're going to get into the words and imagery and a really cool meditation and some cool software, especially with AI, that's going to really paint a beautiful picture for you to show your brain at least once, if not twice, and if not every day. So the same coach that gave us that contrary advice also offered really cool advice about looking at it and then going out into the world and turning it into a living vision board instead of a non-living, I don't want to say dead, but instead of just having it there as a visual. So taking an aspect of it and getting creative and actually going almost like a field trip. All right, we're going to spend a day just hanging out in this co-working space that I want to be showing up to full time. Or I'm just going to go on trying some clothes that I've been wishing I can afford, but until I start making some more money in my business, I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, if you want your kid to go a specific private school, after dropping them off at the school they currently go, then just driving up the driveway of that school, pretending that you're dropping off your kid without being creepy about it, of course. All right, so that is just an example of taking aspects of what's on your vision board and taking those little baby steps. So in there too, we are also going to look at practical aspects of taking care of your own needs, so self-care practices, and also the importance of turning this into a regular ritual. So there's a couple of ways you can do it. You could do this once a year. I typically used to make a vision board at the beginning of the year, or for funsies, you could do it once a quarter, turn it into part of your quarterly ritual. And there's lots of wiggle room here for creativity. But I really believe in the power of manifestation, especially for those of us, if you follow human design with a defined throat, or if you're just a general manifester, expressing out loud what you're seeing here. Ooh, I love the colors here. And oh, I love how this represents my yearning for some more like bubbly effervescence in my life. I don't know, just really looking and seeing what you see and saying out loud, I'm going to be living. I'm going to be popping that champagne when I hit that my first $5,000 month or whatever. We're going to have numbers there. We're going to have feelings there. We're going to have results there, both for you and for your clients. So I invite you to check it out. It's in my shop page. It's going to be vision board for your mom coaching biz. And it's going to be fun, most importantly. All right, get out there and manifest, and we will talk to you next week. Bye.